As someone who burnt out, broke down, and recovered from burnout and breakdown, let me tell you what I learned. The biggest lesson that I learned was understanding what happened, why it happened, so that I could address it and keep it from happening again. I had to come to an understanding that burnout and then the breakdown after that came to happen because there had been a massive emotional buildup, right? And it wasn't just a massive emotional buildup. This is akin to not eating the meals that you need to eat on a daily basis to be good, not hydrating on a daily basis like you need to be good, not sleeping on a daily basis to the extent that you need to be good, to be able to function on everyday life, right? It's that compounded for a very, very, very long time. That is the type of thing that leads to burnout, to breakdown, right? It is the everyday tiny little things that add up that become so piled up, so overwhelmed that your system breaks down, stops functioning, right? Because it is one thing to miss a meal. It's one thing to miss 2 meals on a day. It's one thing to miss a couple of hours of sleep more than usual. But it's very different to do that on a daily basis. And it is very, very different to do that on a daily basis for years on end. And the reality is that is what happens. When you get to burnout, when you get to breakdown, that doesn't just happen out of the blue. It might feel like it happens out of the blue, but it has been building up for a very, very long time. Something has been neglected. Something has been set aside for so long, and not necessarily intentionally, because a lot of us don't understand how to do these things. Something has been set aside for so long that the need has piled up. The deficiency has piled up. And now you're not able to function, and you're in burnout and you're in breakdown. In order to address the emotional needs that you haven't been fulfilling that actually lead to burnout, to breakdown, you have got to gain emotional literacy. You have got to learn to register the feelings and the thoughts that represent those emotional needs so that you can fulfill them in time, so that it never builds to the point of deficiency, so that you don't ever get to burnout, to breakdown. And the way to address this, whether you're trying to prevent burnout, breakdown, whether you feel like you're nearing it, whether you're full-blown in burnout, breakdown, the biggest lesson that I learned that I can share, and there's a lot of things that have to be done, but the biggest lesson in it that I can tell you is building emotional endurance, is learning to sit and connect with the difficult feelings and thoughts. Think about it. This is kind of like going to the gym, where we learn to work through the burn, to sit with the burn, to endure it, to see the gains. The burnout, the breakdown, the things that lead to it have been building up, that we have not been connecting with, that we have been setting aside, all the difficult feelings, all the difficult thoughts that we have not registered. Again, it's not your fault, but the important thing to do in order to prevent it, in order to address it effectively, it is extremely important to build your capacity to sit with difficult feelings and thoughts as you can, right? And that's not necessarily even sitting with difficult feelings and thoughts right off the bat. That might mean simply sitting in a moment of peace, in a calm moment, in a good moment, with feeling, with registering how you feel physically, what feelings, thoughts pop into your head. Those are all little bits and pieces those are all building blocks to helping you address the very things that built up into burnout, into breakdown. It's helping address the needs that haven't been addressed, that are in deficiency, that lead to that burnout, to breakdown.